My name is Keith, and this is my story. It was 1978, and I was just starting my junior year of college. My girlfriend and I took the big step and decided to live together. We were in beautiful San Diego, happy, loving each other, living what we felt like the best days of our lives. Then sometime that fall, my girlfriend told me she was pregnant. We were blindsided. We had never discussed what we might do if we got pregnant. We had never discussed getting married or having kids. We were just focused on being students who would one day have amazing jobs and make our families proud. I was the first one in my family to even go to college. There was so much at stake. After the initial shock, we just held each other and cried. We were only 20 and 21 years old. We didn't see ourselves as parents. The timing wasn't right. Nothing was right. We decided that abortion was the only option for us. She scheduled the procedure. I remember it was a Friday. It's strange the details you remember like that. I drove her to the clinic, offered to walk her in, but she told me to stay in the car. I couldn't find any parking spots, so I drove around the block a few times. I finally found a space, but didn't stay there very long. I just couldn't be still. I guess at some point I started driving around the block again, then suddenly she came out, walking out of the building. The drive home was silent, the air thick with unspoken words and heavy hearts. You could just feel the tension. Once we got inside our apartment, the dam broke. We sobbed, asking, "What have we done?" Years later, I got married and our first child was born. When I saw our baby, I felt a mix of intense joy and deep sadness. There I was, gazing at this precious gift and at the same time, remembering the life that was lost 11 years earlier. It wasn't until 16 years later that I first told anyone about the struggle going on inside of me. I was in a men's group and we were sharing pains and pasts that we wished had never happened. The men listened as I told my story, but it wasn't a healing group, so it didn't go further than that. At some point, I shared my story with my wife. She was quietly understanding, and that's what I needed. I needed a safe space to talk, and she gave me that. Over the years, I began sharing my story when it felt right in men's groups, in events. I didn't realize at first that talking about it was helping me heal. Being open didn't leave room for shame. Eventually, I went from hiding and feeling ashamed to openly sharing and healing. There was still much work to be done, though. I knew that I needed more healing, but I didn't know how to go about it. One day, an organization came and spoke at my church. Part of their mission was to help women and men impacted by abortion. That intrigued me, and I really wanted to get involved. Then COVID hit. 2 years passed, and I guess I got amnesia because I had forgotten all of my excitement to join their mission of supporting men and women who are hurting after abortion. But the group came back to our church, and this time I signed up. The first step was to share why I wanted to get involved, so I told my abortion story. In that meeting, there were 7 of us sharing. Everyone's story was different, but we all were there because we had been impacted by abortion. 2 women who told their stories mentioned the names of their unborn children, and that really struck me. I had never thought about naming mine. After that meeting, I went through the Keys to Hope and Healing introductory abortion support program with a mentor. I felt like I was finally on a path to peace and transformation. When the program talked about moving through grief, it suggested honoring your child by choosing a name and by having some type of memorial moment. So I decided to name and honor my child. I gathered a small group of family and friends at a local nature spot. They listened as I shared my story, my regrets, my promise to help anyone walking in the same shoes that I once wore. At the end, we released bubbles. It was an amazing and gratifying morning. And I kept my promise. I now volunteer to help others find the healing that has made such an impact on my own life.